Have you ever spoken to someone who was explaining something to you and you knew for a fact that they were completely wrong? They may have been telling you that the actor Denzel Washington was in the film Pretty Woman, or that the first city to ever have a Starbucks was Boston. I mean, it could be anything. And you knew for a fact that they were incorrect in their story or statement. But for some reason, you wanted to believe them. Okay, let's break that down. Oh, and by the way, you got to stay tuned for some tips on this subject here we're going to get into that you'll definitely want to hear towards the end. But let me explain. So, back to believing liars. When someone says something so convincingly, perhaps you might even question your memory. Was I wrong about that? I must not have had that information correct. No, you were right. It was simply the way they were speaking that made you want to believe them. Oh, this reminds me of an amazing song, The Way by Jill Scott. Check it out. For those soul-loving English learners out there, more music for you to practice listening. Anyway, this is a very key observation because it highlights that the simple way someone speaks can have an indirect or subconscious effect on the reception of information. Okay, what does this have to do with language learning? Why is this necessary? Well, how about we apply this to language learning? And I don't mean start speaking in funny accents or super seductively or start telling lies. What I mean and what I'm speaking to is confidence. It is the confidence that the person has that begins to sway your own judgment. And this absolutely applies to speaking a foreign language. In fact, we need to start putting more emphasis on this than grammar and sentence structure sometimes. Your simple approach to speech, your posture, volume, eye contact, patience, all can affect how the listener receives your words and analyzes your level in the language. So now for what I promised. Here are some tips to speaking with more confidence in a new language and being better understood. Let me know in the comments below what your tips and tricks are. Okay, so my first tip, I love this tip. I say it all the time, honestly. You're going to keep hearing me say this. Talk to yourself in the language you're practicing. I do this all the time, and it's my favorite thing to do. When you're alone, you're more relaxed, you're free, there's no tension from a person staring into your eyes, like right across from you. You can make a mistake, who cares, Only you hear it. And this will help you take that mentality out into the world when you actually are speaking with someone in the language. Okay, my second tip, be loud and be wrong. Speak up. Okay, so I don't mean like intentionally start making mistakes, obviously, but speak in a volume where your mind feels there's no mistake. I mean, even if there could be one, don't be shy and ashamed of what you know. You are already speaking, so might as well give it your best go. Oh, that rhymed. How many of us can think of celebrities that really only half speak a second language, or maybe don't even speak it as well as you in a second language, but they are deemed as fluent, right? It is their confidence. Celebrities, I think, generally have more of that, and it's kind of also our own tendency to not allow ourselves to feel like we deserve to speak loudly and proudly in a second non-native language. Because why not? Why can't we speak loudly and proudly, even if we're still learning the language? It's better that way. Speaking of being loud and proud and having confidence, are you still looking for a job? Come on. With all those skills you got, you need to revamp your resume. Or you know what? Say no more. I know. Stop asking so much. I'll do it for you. If you're someone that struggles with writing in general or articulating your professional experience, you need to download one of my resume templates pronto. We even have a service where we do it for you. Too good to be true. Check the description box below for more information. Okay, now back to the video. A third tip: have patience with yourself. Use pauses and moments of thought to your advantage. Even native language speakers at times have to think about what exactly they are attempting to articulate. And they may take a moment to get their full idea or sentence out there. This doesn't mean that they speak the language any less well, obviously. They're just thinking. So, add personality to your pauses. Use words that are filler words, such as well, or in fact, or you know what. This is for English learners. Or add positive body language to help fill in the moments. Of course, don't overdo it or overuse these filler words. Just use them strategically to your advantage. When you fill your voice with a little personality that you may have learned from common quirks from native speakers, then you'll be sounding more like a confident pro in no time. And lastly, acknowledge your wins. I'm so unsure why we as language learners love to discredit ourselves more than we give ourselves credit. If you don't do this, I admire you. I did this to myself for years, but also this happens when people are not receptive of our language learning or language level. If this happens to you, do not ever feel that there is anything wrong with you. Move on from that person and keep being loud and speaking up in your language learning. You will naturally improve. Also, many people have bias. I remember times, so many times, while I was living in France, I would be speaking French to one person who speaks it natively, and they'd say I speak horribly. Just not very receptive at all. And in the same day, that same exact day, I'd speak with a completely different native speaker from another region or background, or just, another person. And they would completely champion my French speaking skills. Therefore, in every scenario, you should champion yourself and recognize your accomplishments in building these muscles in your brain that you took upon to do all on your own. There's no real science to reveal. I'm not a scientist. I just speak from my own experience, and maybe this video is just to serve as a little motivation for you. And if you receive discouragement in your language journey, either from others or even from your own self, then let this video serve as the other side of that balance, and confirm to you. You have every right to be confident in your speech. Be as confident as a child telling a story, because chances are the person listening will have a way better time understanding you than if you didn't have any confidence at all. Let me know in the comments below if this video was helpful or what things might be troubling you in your English or any language learning journey. And I'll see you in my next video. Take care.